So welcome friends, welcome to AB Astrology. Today again I have the privilege of having Dr. Sandeep Kanhuli ji. Welcome sir. He needs no introduction. He's been on my channel many times before. It is again my privilege to learn from you sir and to all of us actually. So thank you for coming. Thank you for accepting my invitation. And you are always being so courteous to me. Thank you so much.
No, thanks again, Amanji, for inviting me to the channel, and it's fine. As I mentioned, it's great that you're spreading knowledge about Jyotish, you're sharing your information about Jyotish and all that. It's always a good deed, so that's always good. So I'm just glad that I'm here to help you in any way I can.
Thank you, sir. I want to tell the audience that today's topic gonna be very important, and I was really looking forward. Just before the recording, I was telling Sandeep ji that I was really looking forward for this collaboration because today we're gonna cover the most important topic, which is Saturn going into the sign of Capricorn in the Makar rashi. But I want to tell the audience, we will not cover each and every ascendant. So just want to give the disclaimer. If you looking forward to that, so this is not the video for you. But if you're interested in the nakshatra point of view, then you will be very interested. So sir, I would love to know more about Saturn going into the Makar sign. I think it's gonna go somewhere around 24th of January of New Year. And also before we start, I want to tell the audience that it is very important to understand what Saturn is before talking about the nakshatras, what kind of element Saturn rules, from what rashi to which rashi it is going, because it is going from one fiery sign to an earthy sign now. And
yes,
just in the nakshatra point of view, you have to see from 20, 30, I don't know from how many angles, gunas, ganas, gotras, this, that, animal totems. So again, it is my great privilege to have Sandeep sir to enlighten us on this subject, because I'm going to divide this video in 3 parts, because we're going to cover Uttara Ashada first, going into the Capricorn, then Shravana, some part of Abhijit, if sir likes, and also going into the Dhanishta part. So sir, please take the stage and tell us more about it, because the earthy element going into the Uttara Ashada, because I also have a lot of questions regarding this. So please take the stage, sir.
So yeah, Amanji. First of all, Saturn is the planet of karma. So Saturn, sorry, is actually going to transit over its own sign in Capricorn.
Yes.
So it's actually well placed Saturn by sign at the level of the sign.
Right.
But then at three of those different nakshatras, they are ruled by different planets in the Vimshatri Dasha system.
Right.
So you'll kind of begin to see a difference in quality of Saturn in 3 different nakshatras. Of course, Saturn is the planet of long-term karmic cleansing. It's the sweeper planet of all the zodiac. It's the servant planet of all the zodiac. Is the planet that ensures that whatever your foundation is, So now, of course, a lot of your karma will depend upon your prarabdha karma, your dasha, all that is definitely there.
Right, sir.
But Saturn and Capricorn is going to trigger a lot of interesting things. First of all, in Uttara Ashada Nakshatra, we have to remember the Nakshatra of Uttara Ashada literally translates as later victory. Now, for any later victory to happen, there should be a war which you actually have to fight. You actually have to fight to win something.
Right.
So you find a lot of themes with regard to competition entering into your life. Of course, if you have a planet there, it's much more you're by default competitive.
Right.
Usually you like to do gusti, or you just like competition. Now that kind of thing is very strong. Now at the individual level, it might feel like natives are being called to this karmic kind of battles. The battles they have been fighting for a long time, and that'll be just triggered in a big way with Uttara Ashada.
Right.
They'll find this courage to find that to face those long-term kind of themes which they know they had to face out, they had to clear out. In fact, this is also going to be, it will be challenging, of course. At least the initial Uttara Ashada padas, it won't be easy. But
Right.
it's like, with the Uttara Ashada, it's one more important thing to remember is that Jupiter actually gets debilitated here. So
Right.
you'll find a lot of, some difficult karmas coming upon gurus. That's something you can see.
Right.
You'll find a lot of educational institutions having to face some difficult karmas,
Right.
which is Jupiter is education. You will again see temples kind of having problems and stuff like that. The temple kind of thing will also begin to have more kind of thing. But then, but in Uttarashada, one definite thing that happens is that, usually it's almost like the last step which you last step with regard to facing any kind of intelligence energy in your life. Now, for instance, Jupiter gets debilitated here.
Right.
Jupiter is the planet of debilitation. Well, is the planet of intelligence, right? So that is getting
Right.
debilitated here. Now it's almost like you are finally seeing the lowest form of your own intelligence.
Okay.
At that point, you'll
Okay.
see that there is something wrong going on here. Why do this? Why is that person doing this? What are depending upon the house, you'll just see that. You
Right.
kind of see it's more also like the argument, the basis for the argument. You'll begin to see it for what it is, and finally you'll begin to see it. Okay, I was wrong. Perhaps I should have sort out an advice of a third person. Perhaps a second opinion on that kind of matter would have been much more fruitful for me. That kind of thing. So
Great.
that's a very Uttarashada kind of energy. That will definitely be triggered right now. What might be is that because Saturn is Karka for some staff, people you work with, things like that, you might either find these kind of natives in your life. Your servant is actually triggering these kind of arguments.
Right.
Your staff is kind of triggering that. Your elderly people in your life, people are trying to be more argumentative with you or something like that. Or you might feel like the need to like question the religious authority or morality of older people, older generation.
Right.
That kind of thing can become very strong right now. Now, Uttarashada, one important thing is also, Uttarashada is also with writing, because the,
Yes.
let's see, because the elephant tusk is actually a symbol here,
Okay.
for
Uttarashada.
Uttarashada. So, yeah, so with that, elephant tusk, one big thing is that, you have to remember Ganesha actually wrote the entire Mahabharata,
Yes.
in this, with his tusk actually. So that means that you'll find a lot of people beginning to start writing. You'll find a lot of, if you ever have thought about writing, you will be writing right now. Say you
Right.
have any plans in Purvashada, Uttarashada, definitely you will be writing. There's one person I could say that. Could be like a romance novels you have been wanting to write. Could be like, any science fiction story or anything like that. Could be even like non-fiction books or anything like that.
Right.
But then there's also a chance that you might be more inclined to travel and write. There will be an interesting theme for traveling and writing also. That's one of the ways how it will play out. Now with Uttarashada, one important thing is also that because elephant also shows state of elephants, so you might find very, the elephants won't be having a good time in the world, So you will find some news about elephants and stuff like that coming forth, that kind of the hardships or the problems associated with that. You might see that. Usually Africa is the land, we mentioned this in the video on Kara's
Yes.
channel, like,
Yes.
with Uttarashada,
Yes.
you have this African kind of connection.
Yes.
So you'll kind of see a lot of shift in lot of some kind of difficulties coming associated with Africa, and you will see that. But then they'll kind of have to face that to clear that up. That's the way you'll see that. So this karmic heavyweight planet is coming there. So finally, some kind of change is finally coming on that front. That is one thing you can say. So Uttarashada again, what is also interesting is that this battle theme. So even right now, there are different regions of the world that is still facing protests and stuff like that. I don't think it's over yet. In fact,
Especially in our own country, it is happening right now.
in India right now, the citizenship kind of thing is going on in a big problem.
Yes. Which is again falling into the natural ninth sign.
Yep, exactly that. So the fundamental basis of constitution, question of your identity. It's almost like when Jupiter entered into Moola, suddenly many people are forced to like literally go out.
Right.
On account of religion, that
Right.
too, like because Jupiter is also there.
Right.
So it's literally that was playing out, So this karmic kind of forcing out is happening, even like a Saturn transiting over the Uttara Ashada, so kind of trigger that kind of question in a fundamental kind of basis. So see a lot of now one thing that can happen is that during Uttara Ashada, we have to remember that it's the last pada was also the first pada, the first a majority portion of the Abhijit Nakshatra also. So one big thing I've seen with Uttara Ashada is that a lot of teams of competition will be there. So many people will start competing. Of course, the shadow side of that energy is that making everything into competition. You're competing with your partner, husband, with your wife, you're competing with your brothers, you're competing with your cousins, uncles, all that. Now that's the shadow side,
Right.
You carry that competition energy. It's going to be very important about how can you direct this competition energy in a very positive manner. So like how do you, so these there are many nowadays there are these hackathons and stuff where teams are competing against one another teams to get one big prize for the city or something like that. Design some product or something like that. Now you'll see a lot of interest on that front. Interestingly, you will also see a lot more interest happening in competitions like Olympics and stuff like that. Also, like sports competition will really take for a big way, like that kind of thing. You'll see a lot of shift in structure around that. That kind of thing will also happen. With Uttara Ashada for sure. Uttara Ashada is also country with fighting and stuff. So you'll find a lot more fights getting extremely popular. There'll be you'll find a lot of new champions coming for sure. Big kind of champions also.
Especially if you get interest into UFC or watching wrestling back again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you'll see a lot of that Gusti kind of thing going. Wrestling, all that kind of thing for sure. Not about. Now, Uttara Ashada, one thing about Uttara Ashada is again, the deity of Uttara Ashada is Vishwadevas. Now, what is interesting with Vishwadeva, it's like it's almost like you find all the gods in one energy.
Right.
So it's like so it's a question of values here. That's the best way you could say that. So so imagine you have Allah, Ram, and Christ or whatever. So you have all that, but you still find the universal values, right? So the question about that universal value will be very important in a big way. And usually these natives will have a universal kind of value. Many times the Uttara Ashada thing, what I've seen, one of the biggest thing with Uttara Ashada is that I've seen these are natives who will question God, who are willing to fight even against God himself, God or Guru. They'll be like, I won't go to that. I won't go to that Guru, or I prayed for this, I didn't get that. I'm not going to that God anymore. Right. In fact, instead of recognizing it's your own karma that you're on facing, you yourself created that. You yourself is the reason for not getting what you're prayed for.
Right.
And then instead of blaming it on God, right? So that kind of argument of this illogical kind of ill-founded argumentative kind of religious kind of sentiment, that is very, very strong.
Right.
With Uttara Ashada.
Just like you mentioned, the Jupiter gets debilitated, so all these kind of queries will be very forthcoming.
Yeah, definitely. The thing with Jupiter being there is also it's very important because this is the time period where when Jupiter gets debilitated, it's not really like it's not a problem really, but it's more like the energy is playing out in a different kind of manner. You have to know how it's playing out. Right. So it's almost like Jupiter being debilitated in Uttara Ashada is actually like it's carrying this energy of this battle. When you the Guru, it's almost comfortable when you are in the Guru's home. Guru is comfortable, or you invite a Guru to your home. It's very great. It's very great. The Guru will feel free in sharing his visit to that. But when you suddenly put the Guru to the battle, suddenly you'll find it's not great. That same level of comfort is not there. But still, there is a function of a Guru to still give guidance also there. So it's more like you'll find that the Gurus who are giving guidance will be more like in their advice and stuff like that. Right. So it's not like so it's an energetic kind of function. It's not really bad or anything. You just need to understand the energy and you can use it in an easy manner.
Yes, absolutely.
So with Uttara Ashada, you'll see the Gurus are inspiring. warrior kind of activities. You'll find that warrior kind of element, very practical kind of gurus can come right now. In fact, one thing with Uttara Ashada also is that I've seen a lot of new institutions will come. There'll be a lot of education reaching many people. Lot of new use will come up. So it's the weakest point of Jupiter. So you will actually see now Jupiter and Moola is going to enhance education anyways, but Saturn and Uttara Ashada will begin to make those plans. So people who are planning, setting goals, institutions, you'll find new institutions coming up right now. You'll also see like the Saturn is going to ensure that the beginning process at least starts off right, over that. So it's not really a negative kind of thing, but of course, that energy will carry its own negative expression also. That cannot, that is definitely. But then it is also having its own positive expression. Like you need some light, things like that, of course. Now, one thing that can be interesting is that I think Astrology once mentioned that Uttara Ashada can be connected with invincibility or like your immune system. So you'll find a lot of a lot of people kind of, or a lot of breakthroughs in this thing of autoimmune disorders and stuff like that. It's like your immune system kind of disorders you begin to become more aware about, and that kind of thing can, those kind of knowledge areas can take up. Now with Uttara Ashada, the Vishwadevas, right? The sense of universal brotherhood, universal morality, that kind of thing will become very, very important. I've seen that a lot of many times the natives will have a universal brotherhood because they travel a lot and they are like, they have that natural sense of like, okay, people are the same everywhere, they have the same human needs everywhere, that kind of thing, So it's like, so those kind of qualities will also become more. The greatest, highest Uttara is that of the, one thing I can say is that, especially in the last pada of Uttara Ashada, because Abhijit Nakshatra is I've seen that very, very strong themes of enlightenment, very strong themes of deep spiritual search. What is the final battle that you can find that victory over? You'll realize that the final battle you can always fight is always with yourself. You're always fighting a battle against yourself. And that kind of quality will become very strong right now. You'll begin to realize that I myself was the cause of all the arguments and problems in your life. Literally, all karma is result of your own actions. That kind of information, knowledge will become very strong. And sometimes, with Uttara Ashada, that particular pada, there is this deep spiritual search that can happen. So you'll find many people wanting to be seen as one, and a lot of that deep spirituality can happen in that way. You'll see that kind of thing also coming up. You'll see that a lot of people will actually take on very long, deeper spiritual practices also during this time period. Because you have to remember, Uttara Ashada, from Uttara Ashada is actually ruling the 8th house, and Saturn is making sure that many people will finally begin to the spiritual practices. They'll finally begin to the process of self-transformation. And now spiritual practice can mean different things to different people. One who doesn't do any kind of thing, like they're just living ordinary life, simply starting chanting mantras, simply having a meditation practice, continuing nature and all that itself kind of spiritual. But for some people who have been long-term spirituality, you might even say they are even taking it more. They are doing it to a lot more temples, they are, chanting a lot more mantras and stuff like that, So Uttara Ashada is that. One thing I would say with Uttara Ashada is that Kubera, right? You'll find a lot of people worshipping Kubera, and Kubera is a great deity to worship right now. Any kind of Kubera mantras, Kubera sadhanas, because he carries that pouch of mongoose. So mongoose is the actual animal. So that's also one thing. So you can find any kind of Kubera worship will be good. In fact, again, I think I mentioned this in previous video, like the logic of using Gajendra Moksha. Mantra. Mantra for any planet in Capricorn's problem is because of Uttara Ashada Nakshatra energy carrying that Gaja's energy. So Gaja's energy because of Uttara Ashada and elephant tusk energy, and Moksha because it's Uttara Ashada's last pada is literally conduit Abhijit. Now with Nakshatra, it's very important to understand Abhijit literally translates Abhi and Jeet. So Abhi is now and Jeet means victory. So victory in the now, that is what is happening. So victory in the now literally translates as you're aware of the present moment. And from that awareness, you are completely shifting. You're moving to a more victorious kind of space within yourself.
Right.
So it is like a victory you have over yourself by becoming more aware. So
Right.
simple as that. And that kind of quality can become deeper and deeper, and you be aware about other aspects of your life. So that's what happens with Uttara Ashada. Now, one definite aspect I can say is the legal lawsuits and legal things will find resolutions. Many karmic lawsuits can also happen your way in this time period. Even the governments will be facing a lot of lawsuits and things like that. That can happen. Say you have a planet there, you might potentially be having a battle for sure. There's a good chance you might face some kind of battle-like situation.
Right.
Usually, it can range from like you're simply fighting with the driver who's close by who cuts you or something, to like to an actual fight between in the family and stuff like that. So you just need to look for that in general. Now, let's see. Uttara, the one thing I would also say is that it's a time period during this time to do any kind of deep spiritual practices. That is something I can say. Any kind of work on yourself. So it's like these are the practices. I mean, some practices you go with your family to temples and stuff like that. But Uttara Ashada is a time. It will be great if anyone can do any kind of spiritual practices. The sun, that is one definite thing I can say. So sun is a lot of holding a lot of secrets in general. There's a lot of things the sun. So if you begin to meditate on the sun, especially during sunrise time, that is a very powerful thing I can say. If you begin to do that for the rest of your life, the first 15 minutes, 10 minutes of your sunrise, you don't need anything more. Literally, it's carrying that much energy, that kind of. Now, with Uttara Ashada, definitely also say, there is this big theme of also, Ashada's war. Now, you'll see that many times you might be traveling to lands where there were war. Perhaps your ancestors were involved in wars. Perhaps you might be going to land where there was a history of war. You are traveling and you don't know why you are there, and you're just clearing out this past life war kind of karma.
This is a great point. Yes.
Yeah, that is something you can see. The other thing with the Uttara Ashada is that there is this heroes who fought in war. Find a lot more now. There's a lot more war kind of movies that could come out. You'll see a lot more war kind of serials also coming out. The series, all that kind of thing can come for sure. You'll see also like a lot more. Very very the public debate is going to be stronger right now. Right now there's already a public debate thing going on in India. Like everyone is like everyone is having an opinion. So that everyone having an individual opinion will become very stronger even in Uttara Ashada. With the final nakshatra where you kind of debate it out and you'll finally see, okay, your point is correct, my point is also correct. Both our points can coexist. It's a simple. Sure, when we have a universal kind of thing, when we have a universal understanding of values and stuff like that, you'll see they'll have a long debate, and finally that will be the thing. That's the thing. You'll find a lot more people debating it out and stuff like that. That kind of thing. So it's Uttara Ashada. The important thing again with Vishnu is that Bhagavad Gita, Krishna shows his Vishwarupa in one of those chapters, and Arjuna can't hear it, can't bear it. A great remedy during Uttara Ashada is actually to meditate on that, read that particular chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in which he is saying, I am this, I'm the best of that, and all that kind of thing,
of the Vishwarupa, right?
Of the Vishwarupa, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So reading that chapter is great, a great sadhana. Even you could say reading the Durga, in which, the war portions of the Durga Saptashati. In which the goddess is defeating the demons and stuff. That's a very standard remedy in Uttara Ashada and Purva Ashada. You want to say watching the Mahabharata, like it's much better to see the battles in the screen with like Kaurav between Pandavas and Kauravas than in your own life between your siblings and your cousins or whatever. That kind of thing. That's an actual remedy because you'll find that okay, that character is going through that. I identify strongly with that.
Right.
I don't need to fight that kind of battle. I see that actually very strongly. I've seen that. I've had some of the clients literally say that, oh, I identified Karna. Karna went through that, so I understand what he went through. That kind of thing. Especially with other nakshatras, with Jyeshta and stuff like that. Now
Right.
with Uttara Ashada is the nakshatra where that debate, a lot of books will come for sure. A lot of spiritual books will also come right now. You'll
Right.
find a lot more interest again in this government policies and debates and all that also. It's not a best time period for leaders in general when Saturn is in Uttara Ashada. They'll face some issues. But then,
Right.
but these are the, what I would say is that these are the battles that is finally helping you become on your own foot, becoming your own independent self. Many times with Uttara Ashada, these are the natives who experience second half success in a big manner of their life.
Right.
In their
Right.
life, the second half was excellent. The first half was completely battle.
Right.
So, like, say you have planets there and you are young, you have facial that is going to make you successful in the future. That's 100% I can say that. But it's
Right.
important, heroes are made only through battles and fights
Right.
and stuff like that. So you have to fight and you have to go through that process yourself.
Right.
So that is a big thing there. Um, Another astrologer friend of mine said that the reason why Jupiter gets debilitated here is because Jupiter is the planet who wants to share wisdom and wants to support another person, and the one succeed. But in Uttara Ashada, suddenly that's a nakshatra about becoming a hero themselves
Right.
through after all the battles. And Guru doesn't want to be the hero themselves. Guru wants for someone else to become the hero.
Right.
So that's a theme that can play out, in which you're finding that intelligence energy activating the hero part within. And
Sir,
you're finding that. Go
here
ahead.
I would like to interrupt and I would like to ask you because I always talk about the opposite nakshatra, which I have personally learned from you. And you talked about Jupiter getting debilitated here. And this is where exactly degreecally also in the Capricorn side, the Jupiter gets exalted in the opposite sign, in the opposite
Right,
house.
right,
So how you see
right,
the relevance there? Because it happens in the Pushya sign. We all know it is the sign of where Jupiter gets exalted, and
right.
it's the nakshatra of wisdom and spirituality. So how you see that? How you see that?
Right. It's like Jupiter, a planet rises over any other planet's exaltation or debilitation degree. The corresponding opposite degree is also activated.
Right,
So it's almost like Jupiter becomes very important suddenly.
right,
Like Jupiter is placed in the chart, that'll become very important. So for instance, now when Saturn runs over Jupiter or Uttarashada and Jupiter says in Purvashada or something, it will become very important to have the debate kind of thing play out, and you will naturally feel inspired to do the debate also. Now, with
right,
Pushya degree, it will actually activate Nakshatra energy, so it will try to balance itself with Pushya. Now, the good thing about transiting over Uttarashada and having Pushya Nakshatra opposite to it
right.
is that you can actually do the remedies of literally hosting or guru or serving a guru or something like that. You know,
That's a
you can
great point.
actually you can actually invite have spiritual satsangs in your home, listen to gurus in your home,
Right,
invite learn people in your home, respect intelligence and knowledge in your own home, ensure that the books in your home well, don't keep torn books and books with torn cover and stuff like that. I would even say that Pushya on the thing is also Pushya is also a nakshatra of mantra chanting, because
right,
Brihaspati is the, so you'll find a lot of people again, they'll begin to, as I mentioned, many people will begin to do the mantra chanting themselves. Suddenly people who are like who have been complete atheists before, and suddenly they are chanting mantras and doing yoga and stuff like that. You'll actually see that this time period. You'll
right,
see that the Pusha is also the mantra is the nakshatra associated with restaurants and stuff like that.
right,
Also, you'll see a lot of themes of transformation for those kind of sectors.
right,
Like restaurant, sure, even institutions will face a lot of things. Suddenly, it's also that all the teachers are facing some kind of pressure, so that they want to be independent, and the university is not helping them out, and suddenly they are facing this kind of conflict. So this is a question. It's a problem for institutions, and institutions are going to face a big thing.
right,
But then it's going to be a balance right now. You'll kind of be forced to balance karmically. You'll be forced to like acknowledge, okay, fine, I need to do the rituals. This is where I need to enhance this. So Saturn will kind of show you the truth of that matter. what is your spiritual progress? How are you dealing with your own spirituality? Are you adding the element of intelligence into all aspects of your life? Are you adding the element of wisdom into all aspects of your life? If not, you will see that many people will be taught by their children in a big way. The Jupiter being children are actually beginning to question with your parents. Children are willing to debate. Children will actually end up teaching you also in many ways. Children will ask, why is this happening? Parents have no answer, and then finally the parent himself has to go and find out the answer for that. That kind of thing can also play out very strongly. So it's that's the way I would say. But a good thing is that Saturn aspecting Pushya by transit is actually beneficial, especially if you do any kind of in your own home. You do mantra practice, any kind of sadhana in your own home. That is very, very good.
It's great. It's great, sir. You have mentioned about this because many people focus on the Jupiter getting debilitated. So instead of focusing or concentrating more on the debilitation part, if we focus on the Pushya part, where you have mentioned about the mantras and this and that, it would be less challenging and more fruitful in the end.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I would say that if you begin to, this is a great time period for that. You'll find that it's a great time period to bring in more of spirituality, more of wisdom, more of religion into your home, whatever it be for you. Bringing more of intelligence. Whether for some people it's just using books, for some people it's practices, for some people it's actually deities, gods and goddesses, stuff like that. For some people it might be just their guru and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like so that kind of energy will definitely be activated. Now, one definite thing I can say is that feeding the poor is a very great remedy you can do when Saturn is transiting Uttara Ashada. It's written that again, it's very you don't ask what the religion of the poor person is.
Exactly.
Because Jupiter is getting double. You ask the religion, you're saying, oh, you are a Hindu, I won't feed you, or you are a Muslim, I won't feed you, you are a Christian, I won't feed you. That's the wrong thing with Uttara Ashada. Because that universal call treated. So one different thing I would even say is that usually you'll see a lot more elderly people bringing a lot of wisdom. It's as simple as that. You talk to the elders in your community, they're just giving you something. They're saying something simple, and a lot of things in your life become thinking. That kind of thing will come quickly during this time period. I would even say that with Pushya, there's also this theme that you might have to, Pushya is also this country with hosting things and stuff like that.
Right.
There is a chance that you might host someone and they are activating debates in your home.
Right.
Exactly that. So you'll find that play out. So it's like used to be that now there is an actual logic. They say that when you bring a guest in your home, they at the most stay only for 3 days or something like that. Convention, as they say. But then suddenly when you can see easily because Pushya is a nakshatra associated with hosting. The opposite nakshatra of Pushya is actually Shravana, which is actually can do 3 steps. So that's like 3 days, So you that usually. So you can see that easily why they were trying to balance that off very easily, that balancing energy and all that. But then with it's very interesting again because with Pushya, I've seen that Pushya is also connected with Cancer sign and with your own mind, whatever you're nourishing in your, So what are the emotions you're nourishing in your own mind? So what are the emotions you're facing, you're holding on to your mind, which is actually driving your own logic and stuff like that, which is driving your intelligence. So that's Saturn over Pushya will definitely, will kind of activate that kind of maternal feelings within you, and you'll have to literally nourish your own mind. You'll have to become more mother-like to yourself, in many
or what
ways.
are the changes it is bringing for your mother? Because that is where, sir, before I forget, because I easily forget things these days, because what I have observed, other than the moon, why we are not focusing on other planets, other grahas, where they are transiting into nakshatras. Because we focus only on the moon nakshatra. What sun is doing in a particular nakshatra, what Jupiter is doing in a particular nakshatra. So what I have seen, whenever Saturn was transiting into Purva Shada, I have seen a lot of issues related to water came out in the world.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of issues related to Venusian qualities came out. Lot of relationship issues came out. Lot of issues related to your spouse came out. So we have to focus on that part as well. So coming into the Uttara Ashada, what are changes it is bringing to the sun, to the father figures, to the authorities, just like you have mentioned in the natural 10th house. So what about that? Are we giving enough emphasis on the, because Saturn is coming into the sun abode. What about those changes? So I really wanted to bring this thing out to the public. You do watch out for that as well. What are the changes it is bringing for your sun? Always focus on that too.
Look at what sun is doing in your chart, what house sun is ruling, which planet sun is conjunct, exactly that. So Saturn's energy will be aspected by sun. For some it might be like definitely there'll be a big sense of personal transformation, no doubt about that. This is the best time period to go through personal transformation.
Right.
I would say that with sun, if you do seva of sun, you're literally treating sun as a king, the big sun as a king. And you're offering water, you're argya to the sun, you're chanting the Aditya Hridaya Stotram, you're praising sun and all that, right? You're doing even the simplest thing of meditating on the sun. If you can do that as best remedy, you will see that, sure, you're fighting with your father and all that. You meditate on the sun for like 10 days or so. 11th day, you see complete disappearance, like that energy. You will see that. You'll begin to realize that it's an energy thing, easily balance out. But yeah, with sun for sure, I'll say your father figures, your authorities, your bosses, your CEOs, people in general, your celebrities in your life, things like that. People around whom a lot of people flock to and stuff like that.
Right.
Sun can be government as well, for sure. Sun can also be your male children in your family and the male figures in general.
Right.
So be a lot of challenges to authority, a lot of challenges to the masculinity, that kind of thing can also play out.
So do watch out for the arguments with those as well.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Do not confront.
Yep, definitely. Now, usually you will see that either you might be pulled to do these karmic arguments, or you might be just like, you might be a witness to those arguments happening in front of you.
Right.
So easiest thing is that if you can handle it in the most manner, that's the best way I can frame it,
Right.
If you see a right, because for some fight for something, you have to give the lawsuit. If they have been treating you unjustly, you definitely have to fight for justice and all that. What would it be?
Right.
But if I would say, keep your ego out of it. Don't think got insulted and I need to prove myself correct and stuff like that. But if it's happening in a more detached kind of balanced manner, then sure, go for it.
Yeah, because the natural fifth lord is involved in this nakshatra.
Yep.
So
exactly.
It's out.
Exactly. The ego out is a big thing. Uttara Ashada is an ego. Biggest ego you'll find.
Oh, yes.
You will find, for sure. This is, it's like a requirement for them to go through that process. The biggest ego is the one who will actually end up being the greatest devotees or sin, So that's one thing.
Right.
The thing is, and many times you'll find a lot of people going independent also during this time frame. Any time period, you'll be like, I'm independent. That's going to be a part of the conversation right now. You'll find a lot of people doing independent business, a lot of people doing other independent things. And the sense will also become very, very strong during the Uttara Ashada Nakshatra transit of Saturn. But yeah, one more thing I can say, I've been sharing as a remedy is to write things and to burn it.
Writing and sir, what? Your voice.
Writing all your memories down.
Okay.
Say how difficult memory is. You have this. You are this. Argue that. Just write all the memories down that is creating a problem for you. Of course, have a like diya before you and have the diya being running all the time when writing.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, I was just saying, with Uttara Ashada, definitely watch out for the writing. Yeah, just write whatever you feel has been difficult for you. Burn that. It's a simple remedy.
Right.
Definitely one thing is that for some people, healthy competition is good. So like participate in competitive sports or something like that. Have a badminton or whatever. So like that kind of thing is fine. When you do that, thing is good. But of course.
Yeah, especially it gets more mandatory if you're a Leo ascendant. It becomes your sixth lord. Even though if you're avoiding for a while, not get into the competition, you have to go through it now.
Yeah.
Right,
so yeah, definitely, exactly that. I would say that for sure. But Uttara Ashada Saturn transit will have its own energy. A lot of spiritual energies will come into into this world. I would say a lot of blessings would also do that. Along, but it's also war energy, so just have to deal. So it's going to be part of that also. But I think at the end, though, it'll be good
Right.
because that cleansing of that karma is what is in the end. So yeah.
So, sir, this is the best part I like about you, because the amount of in-depth knowledge we get from you always, it's outstanding. So I think people going to get a very good idea what's going to happen when the Saturn is coming into the Uttara Ashada. And just like I have also added my few points, that watch out for Sun, how the Lord Sun is playing in your chart, because we all this depend how the Lordship works in your chart, depending upon your natal.
Yeah.
And
Also look at what Jupiter is doing.
Jupiter, yes, because just like Sir mentioned, Jupiter gets debilitated here. And I would also say, do watch out for the body parts associated with these nakshatras, because that also I am observing and researching in whenever I analyze chart. Because if especially if you're running a dasha of Sun or Saturn, so the body parts associated with, suppose for Uttara Ashada, it's thighs. So suddenly the thighs, or maybe suddenly you become more active if it's in a good dignity in your chart. Or as a remedy, what I can think, because I'm doing a separate series on my channel, always try to serve and protect the plant associated with Uttara Ashada.
Yes,
that also
definitely.
We can do, sir, right?
Yes, definitely.
And how I see Uttara Ashada, Saturn coming into Uttara Ashada, Shravana, Dhanishta, it's just like the collective agreement of a big company is starting to happen in the Uttara Ashada. Lot of connections and mergers gonna happen in the Shravana. And in the end, in Dhanishta, you might get the real fruits of it, of the collective agreements of Ashtavasus. Am I right, sir?
Yep, definitely. There's a plan happening for sure. No doubt about that.
So, sir, jumping to the Shravana part.
Well, let me just add one quick thing. With Uttara Ashada, definitely one body part I would add is the tooth.
Oh yes,
like a lot of tooth issues.
Yeah, especially if it's your second lord.
Second lord, second house. Anything there. So fix your tooth. Get people. You'll see that when you fix up your tooth, a lot of things change in your life. That's one.
Or especially if you're it's second house. If you don't have, because many gonna say that we don't have dental issues, then watch out for your speech. It might get very aggressive. So do watch out for that, right, sir?
Yep, definitely. Look also into how you're dealing with with your staff and stuff. When you're talking to someone who's having a tooth issue, guess what? You'll be fighting with. Just reduce that. You can observe that and stuff like that. So yeah.
Right. So, sir, coming back to the